Hi everybody and welcome back to Jaffa Cooks, and today I'm going to show you how to make a BEYTI kebab. For those who watch my channel, you probably recently saw that I did an Adana kebab. Very similar to an Adana kebab, but slightly different in the sense how we serve it and what the fillings will be. So before we start, just a quick tip. Now, if you've got skewers, fine, metal ones. If you've got only wooden ones, then I suggest you soak them 6 to 7 hours beforehand. However, most people do have metal ones, so let's go with the metal ones, but I've just shown the wooden ones just in case you haven't got them. Right, so for the meat, I've got a mixture of 500 grams of fatty beef and 500 grams of fatty lamb. So in all, it's a kilo. It has to be quite fatty because we want the kebab to have that one, the fatty consistency in it, and two, the fat will hold the meat together. In a lot of traditional cooking, fat is used quite consistently. It does have flavor, and in certain traditions, when you make a seekh kebab or a kebab with pieces of meat, one piece of that will be just pure fat. So that's how, in certain traditions, fat is eaten just as like a normal piece of meat. All right, so very simple. I've got some chilies, I've got some red peppers. Now, you could use red peppers, but these are red chili peppers. So I'm going to now just give you a bit of a warning. If you don't like chili too much, because we're using chili flakes, you may want to tone it down and use red peppers instead. So I'm using red chili peppers, salt and garlic, and that's really about it. There's 4 and 5 ingredients, and this will take 15 minutes to cook. But once it's served, it is okay. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Click on the bell icon, get the latest updates, find out what I'm doing, share with your family and friends, and give me a big thumbs up. Okay, so what we want to do now is literally just mix all this in together. And when we're mixing this, we need to make sure that it all mixes in nicely. The last thing we want to do is have a chunk of pepper or a chunk of salt or garlic. So with your knuckles, I'm just going to show you, just pound the meat, just like that. Mix it in nicely. And I'll come back to you in about 5 to 10 minutes. The good thing about this kebab is it doesn't take long to cook or prepare. The only thing that you need to be aware of, it does get smoky in the kitchen. But that's fine, because if it's a rainy day and you feel like a kebab, fire up the griddle, and off you go. If you live on a flat and you don't have room for a barbecue, this is a great way of really getting that smoky barbecue flavor, but then also having a kebab in your flat. Anyway, so there are advantages and disadvantages to this, but anyway, it's just a kebab that you're really going to like once it gets going. All right, looks like my mixture is ready. Just going to make sure I've got every single piece of this. This does not last long in our house. Right, so let me wash my hands. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Right, welcome back everyone. Quick clean. Now, the secret behind making a kebab is don't let the meat touch each other. Don't let the skewers touch each other, especially when you've made the kebab. And a lot of the time you'll find, especially when you make the kebab, once you've put your meat on the kebab and we end up storing one on top of the other, when we try to pull them apart, when we're ready to griddle them, you're actually pulling the meat apart. So what we want to do is, once we're making the kebab, we want to actually position them on top of a tray or a baking tray like this. You need to make sure that the meat doesn't touch each other and doesn't touch the base. We want that to just sit uniformly away until we're ready to grill. So when we're ready to grill, all we just do is just take it and straight onto the griddle. And that allows the meat to then caramelize and start cooking off, and the fat infuses. So really it starts the cooking process off. So I'm just going to take these out now. These have been soaking for about a good 6 to 7 hours. And the reason why we do that is that when we put this on the griddle, the moisture will stop it from burning. So that's the reason why we put them. If you just put them in dry, within a couple of minutes they'll be burnt. So I'm probably going to make up 14 skewers. So before we start, one of the best ways to really ensure that you've got the right portion of kebab meat per skewer is to basically try and create your meatballs. So I'm just going to start and roughly create about 14 meatballs, and that will give me a right consistency and measurement as well. And if I get my measurement right at this stage, then my cooking will be uniformed as well. So give me a few minutes and I'll come back to you once I've got my meatballs ready. I've made my meatballs in a proportion that I know that'll create equal and uniform kebabs, so that will allow me to uniform cook them as well. They'll cook at the same time. So just very simply, take your skewer, take any one of these meatballs, and just push it together, try and compress as much as you can, and then just make a small bullet and take the skewer through the middle and pierce it so it comes out the other side. And what we want to do is, with middle finger and index finger, just try and push down the meat, spread it over. So just push your kebab mixture slowly towards the middle, and this way we have our first kebab. Now we want to keep the top enough space through the top, because when we put it on the griddle, we don't want to cook this part. We don't want the kebab to be too close to the edge. So, and that's about it really. That's my first kebab. Now have a go. Just follow the recipe, and I'll see you in a minute. Hi everybody, welcome back. So my BEYTI kebabs are ready, skewered nicely. I'm going to put them in the fridge for about 10 minutes, let them solidify. The BEYTI kebab we'll serve it on a lavash bread, which is a very thin bread. If you don't have or cannot find a lavash bread, you could use the alternative, which is a tortilla. But if you really want to go full out right, then check out the recipe in the description below, and I'll show you how to make a lavash bread. Whilst these are in the fridge, I'll show you how to make the garlic oil, which basically goes as a layer, one of the layers that we spread on top of the lavash bread just before we put the red sauce and the kebab on top. So bear with me a few minutes and I'll see you shortly. Welcome back everyone. So this is the garlic oil that we're going to make for the lavash bread. So I've got half a cup of regular oil. We're not going to use olive oil, and the reason is because olive oil has quite a strong flavor, so we don't want to overpower the kebab with the olive oil. So just regular oil, vegetable oil is fine. And I'm just going to heat that up and pop in the garlic. Now I'm going to put cook the garlic on a very low to medium heat. I don't want to burn the garlic, so I'm just going to leave that to one side and let it start cooking away. Now once we start smelling the fragrance of the garlic, we'll then put in the next ingredient, which is either coriander or parsley. Now, my kids don't like parsley, so I'm substituting with coriander. You can use parsley if you like, but in my recipe today, I'm just going to use coriander today. I can smell that garlic quite nicely. Just going to pop in the coriander. Now, half a minute into that, I'm just going to pop some water in there. Splash of water, nothing too much, maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons. Now I'm going to pop in the chili flakes. Again, chili flakes, these are not too strong, but again, if you're not a great fan of chili, do put some in, because it does make a big difference to the taste of the kebab. And the final ingredient, salt. Right, now this is all done. I'm going to turn off the heat and just let it sit there for a while. Once it cools down, I'll pop it into a ramekin or something that I can just use to paste the lavash bread. Okay, I'll see you back in about 5 minutes after the kebabs are done out of the fridge. Welcome back, everybody. So my griddle's pretty hot. I'm going to now start laying some of these kebabs directly onto the griddle. So again, just remembering that they shouldn't touch the base and they shouldn't touch each other. Right, so I'm going to leave these to cook for a while. And I'll come back to you once they need turning over. We'll just carry on watching and I'll show you how to proceed from here. Welcome back, everybody. So my kebabs they're looking very good. There's a lot of color on it, there's a lot of caramelization, and I think they're nearly ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check out a few more just to make sure that they're perfectly cooked, and I'll see you back at the serving area in 5 minutes. See you shortly. Welcome back, everybody. So look at those beauties. The BEYTI kebabs are perfectly cooked, and even though my skewers are scored with charcoal and they're burnt, they still held very well. So it's a good way of doing it, but if you had metal ones, that would be perfect because that would actually speed up the cooking time as well. And it would cook from inside out and outside in as well, so it would be faster. So here, just want to give you a quick look at what lavash bread is. It's super thin bread. You can actually see right through it. It's really, really fine. So I'm going to do a quick assembly. I've got some yogurt for later on that I'll show you how to dress. Red sauce, and you'll be able to find the recipe for that in the description below. I've got a nice Anatolian cheese mix that I've chopped up, and I've got some garlic oil, which I just showed you how to make as well. So just quickly, I'm going to make sure that's nicely mixed in. So I'm just going to brush some oil. And this really does bring out the flavor in the BEYTI kebab. So I'm just going to, that should be enough. Bit of red sauce. Now, my kebabs are still hot, so I'm just going to take a couple of these off and place them directly onto the bread. There's one. And if they break, that's not a problem. That means the fat was cooked and caramelized well. Just take all that off. Position it nicely. And it's a simple kebab, really. You don't need to put any kind of onions or anything else. In this case, I'm just going to sprinkle some cheese on it. And I've still got the griddle on behind me. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally wrap this up, fold in the sides, and again, just simply wrap it up. And then I'm going to place this onto the griddle for a few minutes so that the cheese melts. And then I'm going to slice it into bite-sized portions and then arrange it onto the platter. So bear with me whilst I carry on doing this, and I'll show you what it looks like towards the end. Have a good one, have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.